Hey guys, this is Joanna Robinson, and you are watching Stirring the Pot with the one, the only Don Kincaid.
But ching.
That it's in there. The frame is good.
I think you just had a rim job on your phone.
A rim job. I love. That's called a rim shot.
Oh, sorry.
What a way to start. She's talking rim job. Okay, that's nobody I know. I'm gonna get rid of that.
Rim noise.
I'm gonna check the rim job. I love that. All right, now what I'm gonna do?
It's been a long weekend.
Yeah.
It's been a very long weekend.
This is all gonna be in.
Good.
I'm shutting this down.
I would hate to. Oh, yeah, that's a good call, too, now
Ooh.
that I'm actually thinking about it. I'm like, maybe I should just turn.
Yep, this is not being edited out. That's why we call it raw footage of real stories.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, let's start it.
After that.
This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and, my very special guest, Miss Joanna Robinson. Miss Joanna Robinson, it is an absolute pleasure. I think I've blushed a few shades of red already, and we haven't even got past the tester and the intro.
Well, good. Then I'm doing my job.
We were talking the confines and rim jobs and stuff, and we are off to quite the start. I did not expect that.
That's great, though. But see, that's the live footage. That's the raw
footage.
Stuff,
Yes, the raw footage of real stories.
You never know what someone is going to say until you sit down with them.
And we don't like this crap scripted.
No.
We want it on the cuff, on the fly.
Yeah.
We are at a beautiful location, might I say. Could you divulge the locale?
We're right across from my house. I don't really like people coming over. It's just like a personal thing. So I live across from a very nice VFW. It's a nice little picnicky kind of area. It's real, there's some traffic, but it's quiet. And I thought that this would be a really nice place for us to chat. It's
a beautiful setting. It's a great day out.
Oh, thank God.
It was just like when I went to T.J. Howell to interview Mr. T.J. Howell III, and I ended up at Consuelo's pool house instead of the Estates. I feel the same kind of instance that just happened right here. But hey, privacy is privacy.
Privacy is privacy.
And I won't. I don't like to cross lines. You know me.
I know. Oh yeah.
I don't cross lines. I try to treat everybody neutral, equal.
And that's why we love you, Don.
Oh, I appreciate that.
That's why I love you. Everything is so equal with you.
Yeah. I don't try to the race, religion, gender, you name it. I try to stay that equal, and and that message is out there. And there's a lot going on right now in the country. We all try to love each other and stuff like that. I mean, I don't push the message, but I try to live the message a bit.
I think that's really great.
And like
same too. Like
I know this is starting off very, very different than any of my Stirring the Pots right now. But I interviewed Ataxia, the Ataxia Brotherhood, and they left us with a fantastic message about depression. Reach out and talk to someone, anyone. And Ataxia is a pretty violent group, and they don't take no crap from anybody. And it was a very refreshing ending to their interview. So, that's all part of this whole thing. We try to lean on each other when we have to and stuff like that, and we don't want anybody felt in the dark.
No.
Because things happen. A lot of things, people that we know.
Yeah.
In the past few months, maybe last 6 months.
It's amazing how many people will come out and say, hey, this is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somebody that I'm a really big advocate for mental illness. I have mental illness. I've had it for a very long time. And the problem is that everybody's different. And as long as, whether you have it or not, you're there for that person. You don't make them feel bad. I have to see someone professionally. I am somebody that I have to take medication. The chemical imbalance is there.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried it without, I've tried it with. It is what it is. I have good days, I have bad days. I am somebody that is very vocal about, hey, if you're having a problem, please come talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important that you are okay. I am somebody that doesn't always do that. Sometimes I kind of take a step back, or I hide, or I am somebody that will say, I don't want to be a bother. Even though I am very well aware that there are people that will come to me if needed. But it's such a weird, mental illness is so weird. Because I know that there are people that are going to say, you're not a bother at all, please come talk to me. But I can't, it's such a weird paradox. You can't not do it.
It is.
Because
you feel like, if you see somebody in a situation, you're like, hey, just talk to me.
Yeah.
And you're like, many people are willing to hear and take on some of that. But when it's time for yourself, you're like, they don't want to hear that crap.
Yeah.
Or that's too much for me to push out. It's too heavy or whatever. Personally, there's probably many out there right now in our indie scene that thinks I need medication. I guarantee you, I probably do. I probably could use a professional. I keep a lot in personally. I'll put that out there. I really keep a lot in personally.
I really recommend seeing a professional. If they're there to help you. Because there are times when I'm like, I don't know if I want to talk about this, but they are very encouraging. I'm like, just talk about it. If you can't talk about it with me, who are you going to talk about it? And like, you really grow from it too. It's not anything to ever be ashamed of.
Yeah.
I suffer from mild to severe anxiety, mild to severe depression. I have PTSD. I have issues with codependency. I'm not anymore. I used to have suicidal thoughts and actions at one point.
So it was pretty bad.
And yes, and I still struggled sometimes. And as I said, I've been on medication, I've been off medication. I'm pretty happy where I am right now. As long as I take something in the morning, the rest of the day, go on. People are always like, oh, watch what you eat and go outside. And it varies from person to person. I like being outside, but if I'm waking up in a bad mood, I'm not going to want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
There are days where I'm somebody that I'll have a really great weekend. I had this really great weekend this weekend. But the next day I can just be like, nope, not having it. I can't get out. I physically and mentally cannot get out of bed. And it's a hard struggle. And having wrestling has been really good for me because it's an excuse to get out of bed and go see people that are going to want to see me, and I'm going to have fun and just enjoy myself. So having that core group of friends that's like, it's okay, we want to see you is so important.
I think that's why myself, to be honest with you, and probably many others, I know I'm definitely not alone, especially with you mentioning it. I use wrestling as a coping mechanism, basically without saying that I'm going to wrestling for a coping mechanism. I go there for the escape, if you will.
Yeah.
And there's wrestlers alike, men and women both, that do the same exact thing. They are in wrestling to escape from whatever issues or problems that they have going on. And it's a fun escape. And I'm telling
Sometimes, yes, it's a very fun escape.
Yeah, all depending on where you are part of the business. Because it is a very stressful business at times.
It is very stressful.
I compare music and wrestling are very, very similar worlds together. You could put them side by side, make a list, and they're so similar.
I did theater for I grew up doing musical theater and stuff, and I did a theater company for a few years, and I was doing back to back shows. So one week we'd do a musical, the next week we do a straight play, and then the next we do a musical. And after I left and got into wrestling, I'm like, this is the same thing. The drama, you would think all the drama is on the stage or in the ring, and there's sometimes you're like, what is going on backstage?
Yeah.
But as long as everybody, eventually pulls through it.
Right.
And again, I'm somebody that I see all kinds of different angles of the wrestling. I try to stay out of it, but because I'm always in so many different angles.
Now, if I
try to have fun though, that's the important thing.
I got you. Now, if I can say, because we haven't mentioned this yet, you are you're an announcer and an interview person. See, and what else does Joanna Robinson do?
I also sing the national anthem.
Oh my
Sometimes.
goodness!
I haven't sung it in a while.
I forgot that PvP regularly.
Yes,
I used to see that all the time.
I sing the national anthem. I have done. Timekeeper. I do timekeeper a lot. I do a lot of grabbing the gear. I'm kind of the backstage mom sometimes. As far as I have some people know it's the mom bag, and there's knee pads, there's baby wipes, there's baby powder, baby oil, Band-Aids, everything but like the kitchen sink. Although I do carry around a water bottle with soap in it, like a soap bottle, and like I'm like the backstage mom where I'm like, who needs what? Do you need this? Are you okay?
That's interesting.
And I'm just always back and forth, like making sure that the guys are okay and that like sometimes, you know, the show is going for some. I've had to kind of take a step back lately. I just was moving again from the mental illness. From January to about June, I was just like a nonstop. And I just had like a complete breakdown. And I was like, I just got to take a step back. I'm hoping to come back. I'm working on it. Okay. But things just got really out of control. And it was like even wrestling just needed to take a step back.
Right. I feel you.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there are some shows where I was just all over the place.
Can I ask you, was being suspended and fined $5,000 from one GMIC Alex Rojas from Texas Strength and Bell Time Club?
God. And Bell Time Club.
And Bell Time Club. Yeah. That didn't make you like really step away. I mean, just your personal stuff, right?
It wasn't that. It wasn't that.
Hey, you never know because it was kind of coinciding.
I know, it really was. And like, I didn't even think of that. Actually, I kind of liked it because people were talking about it. I was like, what the, you know, it was one of those things where you take a bad situation and like you turn it into something good. Where you're like, man, I can't believe this, but everybody's talking about it, so that's yay me. Like, now I have to come back.
Yeah,
like,
right.
If everybody's talking about it. So, I mean, that was like charge $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000.
I can't.
And if I can reflect on that evening, you weren't inside when this all went down, and I was interviewing.
Right, I was, and I found out from you.
Yes, right on the spot. And she wanted me to prep her, and I refused. So I
was
just,
like, what are you gonna ask me? What's going on, Don?
Yes.
Like, is there something in? And like, I had no idea.
I says I like raw reaction.
Yeah, and you got a raw reaction.
Yeah. She was all kind of kicked back. It was way post Fight for Your Dreams, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Fight for Your Dreams. It was the first Fight for Your Dreams.
Yeah, Fight for Your Dreams. And
Fight
you
for
were
Your Dreams
outside by the truck for the equipment, and we're, chillaxing. And I came up on her and gave her that info, and she ran like the wind inside the building and was like, what the F is going on?
You could see in the video, like that cartoon of like the head explosion.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like,
oh, yeah.
What?
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah. And that's what I love about doing some of this stuff is the natural reactions or raw reactions is, and I tried to do it out of the ring at times, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the best. And I'm not behind the curtain. I'm always out as a fan. So getting those, I wish I could get, because really, when you get out of the ring and your adrenaline is going and the blood is boiling.
Just like, oh, that's the best time.
I want those reactions so much.
I like them too.
But I don't get to get those because of that situation. I'm a fan. I'm not a behind the scenes guy. You know what I'm saying?
And that's nice because there are some people that can't quite differentiate.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's, I think, another reason why I know I personally really respect you. Because sometimes I've been doing this for... How long have Mecca and Scott been together?
That's a great topic. See, I don't ask the regular questions. When did you start? Who's your favorite match? Who's your favorite...
Oh, I love all that stuff.
I do too, but I like to just keep it different,
God, Mecca and Scott have been together for 6 years, so I'm going to say I've been doing this for almost 7 years. Indie wrestling for almost 7 years. I've been a fan, though, of wrestling. I saw my first WWE. It was a WrestleMania here in Hartford. It was 1995. I saw my first WrestleMania here, and I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of fun. And then I just kind of was slowly getting more and more into it, and then like the love hit at the Attitude Era.
Oh my goodness, I think it really did for a lot of people.
And since then I was hooked. So.
Yeah.
But as far as indie wrestling, I want to say it's only been 6 or 7 years. So like you get to know a lot of people, and
oh yeah.
Sometimes lines cross. I know that I definitely respect you as somebody who's like, I'm not here, but I'm here.
Yeah, I want to be a fan, and this whole thing has just kind of evolved from me standing, and
and that's great though.
I forget who said it. It was this past weekend at Battlefront, and they said, I remember you very meek, very quiet, standing against a wall, hanging out at PvP.
I remember
and for the
too.
life of me, I can't remember who just said that to me this weekend at Battlefront. And it's just evolved into this weird
and
thing.
That's so great, though.
It is fun.
It's
Evolution of it. I cannot ever repay all of these friendships and relationships that I've made with so many men and women over the course of the last 3 years or so. And that's pretty much where I've been in it, about 3 years-ish or so.
Yeah, I remember you at PvP shows.
Yeah, I would go to every single one, and I would just
ages ago.
sit there and do my thing. And then one day I was just like, you know what? I love Bacon and Jesus together as the closers. They are an amazing team. They're amazing characters.
I just love the Bacon and Jesus.
And
like,
it's
I love them both as people, but like anytime they'd be like Jesus and Bacon, I'd be like, you guys know
that doesn't go together,
doesn't go together, right? But like that was so fun. But that was what was so great about it, though. It still is great about it, though.
And I think what really drew me to it was they were when I came to PvP, it seemed like they were supposed to be the heels, but when the other guys came out, or even when they came out, it doesn't matter if they came out first or not, they always got cheered from half the crowd. And, you know, they didn't really get cheered from a lot of... So it was kind of weird. They were almost anti-heroes, but like...
you wanted to hate them, but like when they would start doing their dances and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many times like I would have to announce or something, and like Brad would come up to me with the belt and just like wave it in my face, and I would... But he would do it in a very like... We called it, am I allowed to swear on it?
You can.
I just realized I never asked
No,
because
that's
I'm
fine.
such a potty mouth and I was trying really hard.
No, this is not FCC regulated.
He would come up to me, we called it belt dicking.
Oh.
And he would come up and be like, yeah. And I'm just looking at him and I'm trying so hard. Because I know that he's just trying to get around. I'm trying so hard to be like, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. But like in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is...
You're having
so hilarious.
You're
like,
having this crazy party.
As soon as we got back there, I'm like, you're such a dick.
Yep.
Like I could not laugh. But like, and that's what's so fun about it, is you're just like...
To be part of the wrestling business, you have to control emotions, as you just described. That's a perfect story. It's a perfect of an analogy. God, I can't even talk.
It's okay.
Of how you have to pull back those emotions. Is that something you have to teach yourself, or does it come over time as you're in wrestling? Could you describe how that works with?
I feel, for me personally, I'm somebody who did theater for most of my life. So for me, able to, for me, I cheated. Okay. I totally cheated. I was a step of the curve, like, because a lot of times, sometimes during shows, somebody would make a joke or something unexpected would happen on stage and the crowd would laugh and you are trying not to react.
Right.
Or you're like, yep, that happened. You roll with it and you just don't break character enough that the audience is going to know that you have broken character. Because it's life, sometimes things happen. It's the same thing with wrestling. Sometimes unexpected things happen and you have to either be like, yeah, that was totally part of it, straight faced, or you're like, oh, great. I can't tell you, but like there are times someone took a photo of me. It was probably Fogman.
Probably.
I'm not gonna lie, it was probably Fogman, you got me. Where it was during a PvP show, and I was supposed to hate the person, but they did a move, and I thought that they got hurt, and you just see me being like, oh! Because I was so scared that they had, and it was one of those times where I couldn't hide it, but like, I think that if you're not used to it, it's something that you just kind of have to, you can try to practice it. Like, you just do a lot of like looking in the mirrors and being like, but sometimes you just can't. Sometimes things just happen and you're like, ow!
And you break a bit.
Oh,
right?
there it is. That happened. Like when I go to shows and I'm notorious. I like when fans come up to me during shows and it's because someone has done something totally extreme and they're like, are you okay? Because they see that I'm like panicking.
So you're showing that emotion and you're not even in the ring. Yeah. But that's what makes wrestling very intricate, because it's not just the two people and the third person being the referee in the ring. It's the ring announcer. Yeah. It's the way the referee.
Reaction.
The way the referee reacts to moves and stuff like that. If I'm not
selling it, sometimes they're not going to sell it.
Right.
You know, sometimes I'm watching people don't understand that, which is why I'm happy to talk about it. People don't. I really watch.
Right.
I'm watching the moves. I'm watching the story. I'm watching the reactions. So a lot of times someone will do a move, and I'm like, okay. You know, the crowd's like, oh my God. And I'm like, okay, they're fine. That's all. It's all good. And sometimes they do a move, and I'm like,
yeah, cringe-worthy.
I'm like, uh-oh. Sometimes. So, like, it's just a matter of, depending on what I'm watching, being able to conceal,
right.
don't feel kind of thing. Or sometimes if it's just so out of, like, oh my God, that really happened. Oh no, they fell. How terrible. Oh, no.
Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks. Dan fell from the top rope.
Oh no, Dan happened. This is bad. Dan's injured. Oh no.
Whenever you ask or talk to somebody you've never met before and the word wrestling comes up and you're like, oh, that crap is fake, and how can you watch or how can you hang with? Wrestling is what I guess we like to call more predetermined, if you will.
I got the opportunity to be a part of a seminar with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Very nice.
And I remember it was mostly for workers, and I had said to the promoter, I said, I know I'm not a worker, but like I really want to go, and like I'm willing to pay for this. Like I want to hear this. I love the psychology of wrestling. And he was like, you're totally allowed to come. It's not a big deal.
That's cool.
I mean, I paid, which I was more than happy to. I was like, if I'm going to be a part of this. And Ricky, I remember everyone had all their notebooks out and they're listening. I don't think anybody wrote more than half a page.
Right.
Meanwhile, I am just going to town. And Ricky said something that I will never, ever, ever forget. And I say it all the time to people when they're like, wrestling. I'm like, it's not fake. It's choreographed.
Okay.
People are fake. Some people are fake. And I've always taken that with me when I talk about wrestling. You know, some of the things may be predetermined, but you still don't. The only people that know what is about to happen once they get in that ring, and even then sometimes things happen, are the two people in that ring.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen. And that's what's so entertaining about it too.
And wrestling is subject to change.
Subject to change.
And it always
all
is.
The time.
It basically is almost every single show, pretty much, because there's so many people that it takes to make an event happen.
Oh, yeah.
So people's lives and things happen, and you can understand that. And I've talked to others about the backups and how you go about that and stuff like that. But seeing a worker get hurt in front of you for real, being behind the scenes as much as you are, do you take that home with you?
Sometimes. Because, I mean, these guys, first of all, a lot of these guys, I've known them since I started. And I love them all, genuinely. A lot of these guys are my brothers, my uncles, if they're a little older, you know. I'm very close to a lot, you know, I always joke about, like, if I ever have a boyfriend, he can't come around to wrestling shows because you guys will just pick him apart. Like, I'm so terrified.
It will be promo time.
Ever bring a boyfriend.
Yeah. It's promo time, right?
Because I say it because I know that they have my best interest. They want to make sure that, like, and that's the kind of people that I want in my life.
Yeah. So
when they get hurt in front of me, whether it's on purpose or not, I can't not be like, oh my God. Like, I can't not jump in and be like, are you okay? Right. Are you all right? What can I help you with? And from where I am at ringside, I've always felt, and no one's ever told me otherwise, I've felt that it's okay to go check and be like, are you okay? What can I help you with? And even if they said no, I probably would have done it anyway. No, sorry, promoters, but like, I love these guys so much. And sometimes you go backstage and you just see them in so much pain and so much agony. And it's not just the pain of I'm injured. It's the pain of I can't believe I did that. So much goes through their minds, and you can see it as it's happening, of like, I don't want to let the crowd down, I don't want to let my friends down, I don't want to let the people in the match down. And it's so heartbreaking that you can't not sometimes take some of that stuff home and feel bad for them. And you just want to be there for for that.
Because without even being injured, if you have a quote-unquote bad match, if things didn't go correctly, or if you botched a move or two throughout the match, I'm sure it's kind of the same thing because it's all up here now.
Oh yeah, it's all in. I mean, some guys have, like, they just get all up in their heads before the match. The match happens, and you could see some of them, they're still up in their heads.
Right.
And that's just who they are. It's just a matter of being like, dude, it's okay.
Right. Because they're the worst critics, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I'm my own worst critic. All the time. So, it's always appreciative when somebody's like, you did great, it's okay. Like, just shrug it off. And it's such an easier said than done kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just shrug it off, shrug it off, shrug it off.
Because then you have to move on and go to the next event.
Yeah.
And perform.
You have to, or like some guys go from show to show to show, like that day, and then some people are like, I just have a show the next day, or some people have that whole week to just kind of process what happened.
Right.
And with everybody recording and taking pictures, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
I've never said that. I'm not saying that is a bad thing whatsoever.
I understand that.
Sometimes you can't help but watch and be like,
right.
Ooh.
And you look back at it, and I think, that's the good and bad to take from so many eyes and phones and cameras that come to the indie shows now. Yeah. Because you can watch your match from probably a half a dozen angles nowadays. I
recommend, though, watching the matches after the show. I think that a lot of kids, the younger kids, don't do that. As soon as the match is over, they want to watch it. But you really should be watching the other matches.
Right.
Or even before your match. I'm the old school, like, you get there on time, you shake everybody's hand, you help with the setup, you help with I cannot always help with the ring, but if there's two people there, I'm going to be like, all right, give me a pole. And they're like, you can't lift this. I'm like, give me something to help. And you stay the whole time, you watch everybody's match. Because God forbid that, like, you're like, all right, so this is going to be our finisher. And then you're watching, and the match right before, they use the same finisher.
Right.
And you're like, all right, well, let's switch that up real fast. God forbid you got the same finisher 3 times in a row because you're outside drinking or you're watching your match. Watch it later. Watch it afterwards.
I feel that's a great philosophy and a great advice to pass on because...
And then stay afterwards to help clean up.
Yeah.
Always stay. I've stayed till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to just help clean up. And then the bars are closed and I'm like...
Oh, time.
But the promoters are always going to look at that and that's what they're going to remember. You can go and have a really horrible match, but if you were there from beginning to end, busting your ass, that's what they're going to remember.
I speak of Bob Evans in and out of these interviews because he has advice every single day. I have never seen one bad piece of advice that he's ever put out on his Facebook.
I agree.
And he just did a seminar at Battlefront Saturday. I wasn't part of it, but I know I talked to a few of the people that were there, and he's just always so knowledgeable, and he's always so willing to just, hand it to you. Because they charge. They charge, but I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Once you pay for the seminar, then he'll hand it to you, which is totally understandable. Because
if you follow him on Facebook, you get plenty of that for free. I'm just saying.
I'm a huge, he's somebody who's been in the business a long time.
Right.
And, like, that's somebody that you want to listen to.
And he speaks a lot of what you just described, though.
Because that's how I was brought in when I started, was the really old school. You help flyer, you get there on time, unless traffic. Because you can't, some people are coming from so far away.
Right.
Like, that's the one thing I feel like, if you're coming from friggin' South Carolina to Connecticut and you're stuck in traffic, like, okay, that's fine. But, like, you get there, you show up, you do your stuff, you help out, you're cordial with everybody. Because, I've seen guys come in and not shake a promoter's hand, and the promoter's like, I'm going to remember that. They'll shake my hand. They'll be like, oh, it's a girl. Hi, nice to meet you.
Really?
But they'll walk right past the promoter, and he'll look at me and be like,
really?
That's interesting. And
wow,
I'm like,
good to know.
So you say hi to everybody, even if it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I will always say hi. Or I try to anyway. So always. Sometimes I'm always running around. So, like, I'm like, hi, nice to meet you, bye. Or it's like the middle of the show and I'm like, hi, I'm so sorry. Like, just say hi. It's so important. And it's, again, you can go in and you can have such a great match. But if you're going to get there late and you're going to be, and you're just not, you're going to be there late. You're going to be like, whatever. You go out and you do a great show. Yeah, that's great. congrats for you. You're not gonna help.
Right.
Like, yeah, I might bring you back, but like, just because the fans like you,
Right.
I'm definitely not gonna rely on you for.
That's
much
not
more than
always
that.
the tell-all just because of the fans
Yeah.
when it comes to promoters
Yeah.
and such. And like you're saying, there's so much
There's
behind.
so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh man. And sometimes it's a lot of fun though. I get a lot of my steps in on those shows when I'm just all over the place. I love those shows.
Do you go to other companies and just hang out as a fan, or even go and try to branch out from other companies that you've already worked and be like?
The way that I branch out mostly is I meet someone at a show and they're like, hey, you're pretty cool. You want to come to our show? And I'm like, okay. And like, come work at our show? And I'm like, okay, sure. Or like, if I know that, JJ is somebody who, if he knows so many promoters and they're like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to do the national anthem, he'll be like, hey, this girl, this Jew right here. And that's how I've branched out. I've actually tried to go to other shows and I get spotted and I'm like, I'm not, like, I'm just here to be a fan and I don't like the attention when I'm just trying to be a fan.
But you are Joanna effing Robinson.
I know, but like, I don't want to take away from
I know
the guys in the show. I like to just sit in the back and do my thing, but I think it's really sweet that fans are like, it's Joanna, and I'm like, that's really nice, but like, look, there's things going on over there. Like,
there is, and I know you're not supposed to take away from the show, but damn it, if fans are gonna say that's Joanna Robinson, we should go talk to her. You suck that up.
It's amazing to me that there are fans like you that are like, it's Joanna.
Yes.
What?
Absolutely.
Like, it's so funny to me because when I would watch wrestling, I never wanted to be a wrestler.
Right.
I know my body. I know that I couldn't. Again, when I did theater, I was not always first chosen for any of the dance numbers.
Okay.
I would do my best, and I would practice like crazy, but that didn't. I was more of like the actress and the singer, not so much the choreographing stuff.
Gotcha.
Which is why I knew that like I couldn't be a wrestler. I wanted to be like a Lillian Garcia and an announcer. I wanted to be like Paul Heyman and manage and cut the promos and stuff. And like, so even though like I when I'm at a show and I'm in the show and I like the attention, if it's somebody else's, I just don't want to be a part of that. I want them to have the attention. But unless the spotlight and the microphone is on me, then I'm like, Leo, right here. Here's what's going down. This is what's happening. I'm gonna cut promo for whoever this person is. I'm gonna tell Dan to suck it. I can do this all day, Dan.
Mr. Man could
Mr.
do
Man.
that as well, might I
Mr.
say.
Man.
He is one promo machine.
I have to say, Dan is an amazing promo
yes,
guy.
promo machine.
He is really talented when it comes to promos. I can't deny him that.
When I'm at Test of Strength, and it's been specifically at Test of Strength, and I hear someone say, Kincaid, Dan the Man wants you right now, or I see Dan the Man come running in, poke his head and said, Kincaid, get over here. I don't think I've ever run that. Not even from my mother. I don't think I've ever ran.
If I'm not a part of it, sometimes I like to watch it too. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'm like, what's Dan talking about over there?
I run so fast because I do not want that other end of Dan the Man.
I will say, I do like Dan out of the ring.
See, this is what I like to do. Pull it back a little bit. Come on.
Out of the ring.
Yeah. Pull it back.
Dan and I I love Dan.
Oh, that's really fantastic.
Love Dan. He and I bounce off each other with ideas, and we have that. And as you see in the ring, we have that great energy with each other.
Yes, very much so.
And we have really good conversations, and like he's a big comic nerd, and we've hung out at New York Comic Con before.
Cool.
And I do love you, Dan.
Oh, that's so awesome.
But the minute we get in the ring, you're a pain in my ass.
I didn't see any of that coming, boy. I did not. I really didn't.
There really isn't a lot of people in wrestling that I don't get along with, unless they are very openly like... Because as a girl, it's kind of hard, especially when you first get into wrestling, because there's that stereotype of like, it's a girl in wrestling, what's she doing here?
And you've never laced up the boots, correct? Or have you?
I've taken a bump one time. I took a bump one time at a PvP show. Okay. It was an outdoor show too, so I was in a dress and I was in heels. And then I had to run right to another show.
Oh, boy.
To change into another dress at another set of heels. And that was such a great weekend, though. I had so much fun at that weekend. But I remember the guy, he was supposed to just give me a small little pie face. And I was supposed to just follow my own. But he got so in the moment that he really pushed me.
Oh, man.
And I trusted him. I love him, and I trusted him enough at the time that I'm like, it's okay. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I wouldn't trust it for anybody but you because I'd never taken a bump before.
Okay.
And it ended up being more of me just like falling on my ass.
Okay.
And being like, oh my God, I'm so hurt. And I'm walking back there. I'm like, no, this is so terrible. And like, I get behind the curtain. I'm like, all right, guys, I got to go. Meanwhile, the promoter and like half that locker room are coming like, are you okay? Oh my God. And I'm like, no, guys, I'm totally fine. And they're like, holy shit, you just sold that better than some of the other guys we worked with. I'm like, no, dude, I'm totally fine. I got to get my stuff. I'm going to limp to my car and I'm going to go to the next show. And then I get to the other show and some of the fans from that show have come over. So I was like,
oh boy.
Kind of like, well,
kind of half selling it, if you will.
Like half selling it a little bit, but the guy who bumped me didn't know if I was legitimately hurt or not.
Okay.
So
and he showed up at this show.
He showed up at that other show.
Okay.
And I found out from the other people in the car with him that he was legitimately freaked out.
Oh, really?
That he had really hurt me because I had sold it a little too well, I guess, which was what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, that's your job.
And so they were like, oh, he's here. So I go, so he's saying hi to everybody and I walk up and I've got this limp and I'm like, hey,
oh no.
Hey, how are you? And he was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, I stood right up. I'm like, dude, I'm totally fine with you. And
awesome.
He was like, really? And I'm like, no, I am legitimately okay. And he gave me a big hug. And he was like, that's so mean of you. I was like, you pushed me really hard.
Yeah.
You deserved that.
Yeah.
But like, that's what's so great is like the camaraderie too. And like, people really will be like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
That is so awesome.
I get bit by kids on a regular basis. I'm totally fine. I get bit and punched and kicked.
Wait, you get bit by kids? Could you divulge?
Outside of wrestling, I am a special ed paraprofessional.
Oh, no kidding.
I work with small children, like kindergarten, first, second, third grade.
So you get bit?
I did. I actually got, the scars. Yeah. You can still see a little bit of it. I got bit this summer during summer school.
But it's a rewarding position?
Not that day it wasn't.
Not that specific day.
If you break skin, you have to leave and go get tested and medication, and I'm anemic, so they had to take 3 vials of my blood that day.
Holy cow.
And I was like, ugh.
Wow.
But it's funny because he was biting me, and the teachers pulled him off me, and they're like, Joanna, you gotta go. And I'm like, no, he knows that he's doing wrong. He needs to sit down. I'll go when he's behaving. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, you just got bit. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll deal with it later. So finally, once like the stuff had settled, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go now. Now I'll deal with it.
How many kids do you watch?
It depends. This summer we had, we had a couple of kids. I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can range anywhere from one kid to an entire classroom. And like it's the child being integrated into the classroom.
Okay.
So because I'm the only para there, I'll stay and watch the whole classroom too. Which is fine. I don't.
What age range? What are you talking?
I will kindergarten, first, second grade usually.
Okay.
Once in a while, third grade. Once in a great while. I like the little kids. I can connect with them a little better. Once they're not into like My Little Pony and superheroes and Disney anymore, I'm like, well, I've lost you. You're no good to me.
You are out of my comfort zone.
I'm like, I don't know what to do now. I mean, I'll still try and get along with you, but like. Because it's a matter of that trust too. Like I want to be able to connect with them, and so that they trust me. I mean, normally they see me and they trust me too. So.
How long have you been doing it?
Actually, I've only been doing it for a year.
Oh wow!
Because I worked at Toys R Us it would have been 11 years.
Oh boy! And Jeffrey took a hike.
Jeffrey took a hike.
I heard they're supposed to maybe.
Oh God, I hope not.
I'm just saying.
So okay. This is how long I worked there. I remember for Jeffrey's toy box.
Oh wow!
Because they were gonna do it as like a pop-up, like holiday kind of thing.
Okay.
So for them to be like, "Hey, I think we're gonna bring it back," I'm like, what you don't understand about Toys R Us that infuriates me is that I worked there for almost 11 years. Blood, sweat, tears, missed a lot of family time, didn't really get paid a lot, really just, that was one of my suicidal times at one point, was working at Toys R Us. And when it came down to letting people go, my last day there, my HR, who I loved my coworkers. I really enjoyed my coworkers, especially that last month, because as of June, we weren't owned by Toys R Us anymore. We were owned by the liquidation company. Oh. So and I was just coming back from a workers' comp injury where I had hurt my wrist. And because I was still there and I was one of the people that was, I'm totally blanking out. I'd been there for so long. When I came back, the managers were like, so we're not owned by Toys R Us anymore. We're the there's a liquidation woman that comes in. We don't want to really be bothered. You're kind of in charge. And at first I was like, what? What? I was like, huh? I had seniority at the time. And I was like, what? Really? And they're like, yeah, but it's really not that difficult. Right. Because you're mostly just trying to sell all the shit out of the store. Right. And we weren't doing returns. If somebody had a damaged product, you had to call the manufacturer, which obviously the manufacturers knew what was going on. It was worldwide news at that point. I was like, oh, so I looked at it was my assistant manager at the time. I looked at him dead in the face and I said, so you're basically telling me that I can tell people to fuck off? Yeah. And he said, yes. Oh. And I went, wait, I was just kidding. Is that true? And he's like, no, you. Wow. He's like, Joanna, it's you. I really don't care. I got all this other stuff that I got to take care of. Just don't let the liquidation manager hear you. And I went, alrighty then, I can't wait to go back to work. Oh boy. And I gotta say, I bring this up sometimes to Mecca Dunlap because she was I worked at the West Hartford Toys R Us and she was working at the West Hartford Mall at the time. Sometimes she would come over and visit me and she's like, Joanna, I've been visiting you for as long as we've been friends and I've never seen you so happy at work. Like, this is the definition of living your best life. Because I just was like, picking up the phone, thank you for calling Toys R Us. Do you have this item in stock? No. Can you hold this for me? No, we're not doing holds. Can we return this? No. Well, this is why Toys R Us is going out of business. I highly doubt that's the reason. No, that's not the reason. That's really not the reason. And it was so funny because I would always, if somebody was having a bad day, I'm always that person that will go to somebody else and be like, are you okay? What do you need? And I'll be like, what's wrong? What's the matter? And a lot of my coworkers knew that if they didn't want to talk to a boss, they could come to me and I would just try and put it in perspective for them. And they would be like, man, that guest was so rude. I'm like, just know that you are living the cashier dream right now in getting to tell guests that they're fucking stupid. Yeah. Like when at the last week that we were open, we were not taking cash, which I know that sounds ridiculous. However, the bank wasn't coming to the store anymore. Right. So we weren't getting cash deliveries. Everything had to be through the card. And we had posters up saying, as of this day, we're not doing cash. You must have got I specifically put up signs I made sure they were all over the registers and the windows and the doors and everywhere you could possibly saying, we are not accepting cash. Very first guest pulled out cash. And I said, we're not accepting cash. Really? I didn't know that. And I looked him dead in the face and I said, I just put up about 8 signs this morning all over the place saying we're not taking cash. And they were like, oh. Did I feel bad? No. Not at all.
That tail end must have been...
Not at all. It was a little heartbreaking for me only because, I had worked with a lot of those people for a long time. And I had some really good bonds with some of those people. And that's, I still talk to some of them on, Facebook and stuff. And that was what was really hard. But then that very last day, and this is why I will forever, ever, ever hate Toys R Us. That last day, we closed the store at about 1 o'clock, a little after 1. And because we had sold everything. But my shift didn't end until 3. And I was like, I'm fine staying, whatever. And my HR, who was a wonderful human being, I called her my work wife, came up to me and she said, all right, Joanna, here's a folder on how to file for unemployment. And then she looked at me like, if you get it. bye.
Oh, man.
And that is how basically everybody left, was a
Wow.
folder that said how to file unemployment. And I found out that nobody really made any more. Like, I think the most that I made, I didn't make $100. I didn't make over $100. I made under $100 as far as like a labor department check.
Right.
Nobody made
Wow.
anything more than that. And some of those people have been there for a long time. And that's why it was really, like, it gets me mad, people talking about Toys R Us, is they're like, oh, it's nostalgia. And I'm like, you guys were never here when it was open.
Yeah.
Now that it's gone, it's your nostalgia? Like, I was getting people notifying me like, oh, when are you working? I'm like, I'm on a workers' comp leave right now. Oh, but like, when are your sales? I'm on a workers' comp leave right now. I don't know what my sales for this week are. Oh, can you put stuff aside for me? No. You haven't been in the store in years, but now that we're closing. And it's so mean of me to say stuff like that, but like...
Well, you've seen it firsthand, no?
Exactly. And so when they're like, oh, we're going to bring it back, I'm like, you're going to come back for nostalgia, you're going to come back for 2 days, be like, yay, Toys R Us is back.
And then it's going to go right where it was.
Yeah, right.
Because, I mean, Amazon is very easy to... I think that's where a lot of it comes down to.
It was a whole mix of stuff that led to Toys R Us.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to pin it on Amazon, but I'm saying...
Oh, no, I mean, it was... I mean, we did price matching, too. It's signs everywhere. I couldn't tell you how many times I would price match stuff, like, online or from, you know, the people would come in with the Target stuff and be like, this is here. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. It's cheaper there. Sure, I'm going there afterwards, too. You know, like, it just... But it was great to just finally stick it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so after Toys R Us, I had a couple of months of like freedom, and I was like, I had kind of wanted to be a para. A lot of my friends were paras, and they said that I'd be really good at it. So I got, it's called a praxis, a para praxis, and I got a job as a special ed para in Enfield. Actually, it's a little farther away, but that's it. So I do enjoy it some days.
Yeah, besides the biting.
Besides when I'm not.
When they're not on your arm.
When it's a child that doesn't
understand.
The
right.
child that bit me knew what he was doing.
I got you.
Like, I have been bit by kids that don't understand. You're like, it's okay.
Right.
Like that. And it's so funny because I'm like, you know, it's just like dealing with wrestlers. You know, they're just giant children. That sometimes you're like, okay, take a minute, take a second. What do you need? It's okay.
You mentioned in your Toys R Us story, Mecca.
Yes.
And it's an association with my niece, Sarah Zach.
Yes, Sarah.
And you didn't know that we were associated.
I had no idea.
And then when you found out on the book, you lost your shit a little bit.
I totally, I'm not gonna lie, I lost my shit. I was like, what? You know Don Kincaid? He's my uncle. Uncle Don! What? I lost it. I saw her that next day and I was like, Uncle Don, what?
How did you get intertwined with Sarah Zach, if I might? This is kind of an insider. I hate that this is kind of an insider thing, but I'm very curious.
So for some of you that saw on my Facebook or my Instagram, I did some recent photo shoots. I did.
Oh boy, did I see
I did some. One was very nice, flowery. One was a witch one. One was a
whisper in my ear.
It was a boudoir.
yeah, that was a good one.
Theme.
Yeah. Oh.
And actually, I've known Sarah. I met Sarah through Mecca. Actually,
oh, okay.
They were friends, and we kind of connected that way. And Sarah is a photographer. She's an amazing photographer, as you know, as you guys have seen. And she was like, we had been chatting, and I was like, she was asking for models. I was like, I'll model for you. Like, why not? This was years ago, and we did like this vampire-esque.
I remember that
shoot.
I've seen all of her stuff,
and we connected really well. We had a lot of fun. I got to be bloody, which is I'm one of those people that like, what, you want me to lay down with blood? Oh, sure. I gotta have flowers poking everywhere. Let's do this. Just point me to the camera, and those pictures actually made it into a horror magazine.
Oh, cool.
They did.
Very cool.
It was we were really excited. But however, Sarah took a break, and nothing against her taking a break. Sometimes you have to take a break.
You have to,
as I've said before. Sometimes you just need to step back, and that's fine. But recently, she's like, you know what? I kind of want to get back into it, and I was like, I'm totally down.
Boy, did she jump in hard too, huh?
Oh yeah, she jumped in hard,
Man,
and I jumped in with her.
You
I was
did.
like, let's do it.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Let's do it.
Whenever I saw the boudoir, is that the boudoir?
Yeah, it was the boudoir.
I was, because, you know, you're on the book and you're like, flip, flip, flip. Wait a minute. Was that
I know you don't normally see me like that.
That was Joanna Robinson.
That was me.
Little bra and panty action. And I was like,
I wouldn't have done it either, but since January I've dropped a lot of weight. I've dropped a lot of weight since January.
and as I reached out to you when I saw those pictures, they were tastefully done.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like
time.
some, hey, check out Joanna.
And that's what we wanted to do, because
Yeah.
I remember like that was the thing right from the start, was they're going to be tasteful.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though, like, I go to the shows, and this was just the way, again, from the old school, I was always taught that when you go to a show, if you're an announcer or a ringside interviewer, just think you dress nice.
Mm-hmm.
You dress nice. Obviously, I'm a girl. My dress is a little shorter. My top's a little lower. But I'm not out there to be like, hey, boys.
Yeah, you don't do
I'm like,
that.
hey, guys, let's party.
Yeah.
Woo, I got gray hair today. Actually, I'm having a really nice hair day. I have my hair cut and dyed, so I'm feeling the hair. But,
Yeah.
and I've never been one of those girls that's like, look at me.
Right.
Like, if I'm going to a show, I'm like, look at me, look how I'm showing off for the company.
Right.
I'm trying, not showing off for the company.
You're playing your part and
Yeah,
being
right.
respectful.
Exactly.
But
And-
still dressing very nice.
Yeah, like sometimes I've forgotten tape and stuff, but like I'm still very like,
Well, you know.
look, there's the wrestling over there.
I did.
It happens. It's my own fault. You can't not be like, hey.
I did mention that the left sister was kind of poking around a little bit.
I
here and
know.
there.
I was kind of embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie, because that's not who I am. I don't like to really be like, hey, look.
I know, but hey, man,
I try not to anyway. I try really hard not to be like I'm there to, again, because I was always told, like, you show up and you dress nice.
I mean, if I have.
You're
Yeah, you have to.
You're a spokesperson for this business.
Yeah.
And I want to show that I'm here, and even if I'm running, I can't tell you how many times I've run from backstage to the entrance in heels
Yeah.
in a short dress, like it's going up, and like I've learned to always wear pants under my dresses for the reason of running and the skirt riding up.
How did you get into like doing this? Because the first time I saw you, it was at PvP, and I'm not really sure on the lifespan of PvP that I jumped in on, but it was in South Hadley. The room was always pretty poppin'.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of regular faces, even that we see today at the TOS and Battlefront, and
Oh, yeah.
they go to the other shows and stuff. What got you, like, how do you just jump in as a woman? I want to be in a ring announcer. Or like,
Actually, it's funny. Working at Toys R Us, I met Eric Newton. I don't know if you know who he is.
I'm not familiar.
Eric Newton used to run, at the time it was NEFW.
Okay.
It was him and Chris Camaro, I know JJ Alexander and Jimmy Mees were helping with the bookings and stuff. And really young AJ Cruz, really young Jeremy Leary, JC Dunn was popping in. I mean, there was a lot of the big names that you see now. I remember when they were very young.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I became really good friends. He was actually like an assistant manager. No, what was he? First, he was a key holder at Toys R Us. And we just became really, really close, really, really fast. And one of the things that we bonded over was wrestling. And he mentioned that he had the promotion a few times, and I was like, I'd love to come, but like at the time I was in a relationship with someone who wasn't really into wrestling. It wasn't a very good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little part of my PTSD.
I feel you.
But we won't go into
Hey, let's not know.
the wrestlers at the time. No, so finally he was like, you know what, you sing national anthem, like why don't you come sing national anthem? And I'm like, I can come do that.
That's cool.
If I say like I'm coming for a job, like fine. So I went, and I remember getting there early and being like, I don't know anybody, this is so scary, but as people were coming in, they were introducing themselves, everybody was so nice, And Eric came in and he's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm good. I just tell me what you want me to do. Where do you want me to be? And I went out there and I sang the national anthem. And to me anyway, I assume that that's the moment that the guys just fell in love with me. They were joking around and I was joking with, even though I was nervous. I remember it was in December because Diamond Dallas Page was there.
Oh.
That was my first show my first indie show. My first time singing at an indie show too. Diamond Dallas Page was there. And
that was NEWF?
It was NEFW.
NEFW.
And then they ended up changing it to RPW.
Okay.
And then it got changed to RPW. But it's from that moment on, like, the guys they fell in love with me, I fell in love with them. I always had a great time, even if I was just going to sing the national anthem, or I learned how to do timekeeper there. Sometimes if they had, like if they were doing the raffles, I'd go up and be like, "Hey, we're going to do raffle now." And like, I was always just down to like jump in and help because I just really loved it.
That's cool.
Unfortunately, Eric did pass away a few years later. It was really heartbreaking. And we tried to kind of keep RPW alive, and unfortunately just too much was going on and we couldn't do it. But I had been able to meet, like, I had kind of started a couple of the guys there, like at the time it was New Age Old Time Wrestling?
New Age Old Time Wrestling.
It was, at the time, it was New Age Old Time Wrestling. I started going because Justin was there and we had started talking, and like I went to visit, and there were a couple other guys that I knew. Billy King. Billy King was like, "You really should come. You'd have a lot of fun." I miss you, Billy King. A lot of the guys at the time were like, "You really should come and just start seeing other shows, and like, we'll let you in and we'll hang out afterwards." And that was how I got into there. And then Justin changed it to PvP, and he's like, "I know you do the national anthem. You want to start doing national anthem for me too?" And I was like, "Sure. I would love to do the national anthem." And then the announcing thing just kind of happened. They were like, "We just don't have an announcer. Like, can you do it?" And I'm like, "Sure."
That happens at shows at times.
It was a really great example of like game face,
right?
But total panic.
Oh yeah.
It was something that even though I had really wanted to do, having to do, and I still get nervous sometimes doing it, but like I'm much more fun about it now.
Yeah.
Because people know me now that like, yeah, I messed up, whatever. We're having fun, right? We're having fun. All right, let's go.
You're like, "Oh my God, I have to be ultra professional," which you have to, but when you get in certain environments, it could be a little more.
Yeah. I remember being a lot of the times when I would have to announce at PvP, like I would get very nervous, more so because the way that I was brought up is I'm a hard worker. I show up and I work hard at any job that I do. So if I mess up, I'm like, and it's the mental illness too of like, I feel like a failure if I mess up in just the slightest way possible.
Right.
And it would really get to me sometimes where I'd come backstage and be like, "Oh my God, I messed up and now Justin's gonna fire me," and oh my God, and people would be like, "It's okay, like relax. The crowd loves you, where everybody's having fun, it's okay." And I'm like, "No, I messed up, this is terrible." And thank you, Justin, for never firing me over that. But also, like, I would help set up and blah, blah, blah. So I think that's really why I got fired.
Yeah, that could be a good possibility.
I set up and I was helping all the time.
Yeah.
But you grow more confidence the more you do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I do enjoy doing it. But, like, I remember there was a show where we were supposed to have an announcer, and about 5 minutes before the show started, the promoter came up to me and they were like, "He's not going to make it. I need you to announce." And I was like, "Sure, okay, no problem." But like, I grabbed my cards and I went up to everybody and I'm like, "Quick, what's your name?" And they're like, you know us. Like, we were just hanging out.
Yeah, but I need your name.
I'm like, "I know, but I need your information, like, right now." And, like, I went out there and I just did the best that I could. I'm like, "Hey, everybody, let's start the show." Like, whatever. And, like, you sometimes, like, you just roll with it.
You have to.
Yeah. And sometimes that makes it more fun because I'll come backstage and be like, "Well, now I'm just like, well, I suck, whatever, on to the next." But, like, you gotta have fun with it. And, like, if you mess up, you either keep going or you're like, "Yep, Fourth wall broken. Let's do it.
The theater helping a big part in that as well, because you have to. Stage fright is a very huge thing. So getting past that is like the biggest hurdle. I mean, number one.
I don't think I would get stage fright, but like I never looked like I did. I would always get complimented like, you looked like you were fine. I'm like, really? Because I was freaking out. I also, like, when I do national anthem, like I always try and say it to myself a couple of times before I actually go out there, so that, like, I'm like, okay, whatever.
So on the days that, because I haven't seen you do it in a while.
No, I haven't.
But when you were doing it, would you practice it on the day of, or would you just, like...
No, like usually I'm somebody that I love to listen to music when I'm in the car, so like I would have whatever playing, jamming, and then maybe like 10-20 minutes before I got to the venue, I would pause the music, sing it a couple times, put the music back on.
Acapella?
Yeah, I would just do like an acapella session by myself, and then do whatever I needed to at the venue, and then right before I went out, I would grab somebody and be like, just humor me. I would say the lyrics to them, and they'd be like, yep, that's it. And I'm like, all right. And then maybe I'd say it one or two more times before I actually went out there.
And since we are on the national anthem and you singing it, I really have to touch upon. There was a time when Mr. Damian Black was actively wrestling. He has now moved on from wrestling. You never know. He might come back. You never know. And he was a fan favorite for as far as I remembered. And then things took a turn with one Mr. Damian Black, and you would be singing, and he would do this me thing, or almost anti-American kind of weird thingy going on, and he would interrupt you without fail every single PvP show in South Hadley. Every single time.
I remember, that's right.
And the crowd used to give him probably more heat than I can't even think of, to be honest with you.
It was. I remember backstage sometimes being like, how can we get the crowd to like really hate you? And that is one of the things that came up with.
Really?
And it started as just a joke, and Damien, he's another one that, like, even though I had heat with him, we were really, really close. Mm-hmm. We were very close, and he was another person that we would bounce ideas off of, and like before the show, like, I love you too. All right, now let's go out there and hit each other.
Okay.
And as soon as we got out there, it was big hugs, like, that was so great, oh my God. But we were always just trying to be like it was one of those things where I was like, man, this is my only job. Like, why you gotta ruin it? But the crowd would just get such a reaction out of it. I'd be like, all right, well, it's fine. And then, like, sometimes, like, we'd say, like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then we get out there and we start doing it. But there was one time I happened to I was chewing gum, and I don't remember why I was chewing gum that day. Again, from my theater days, I never ever chewed gum during a performance, and I was still chewing my gum. And I panicked. I'm like, oh my God, I have gum in my mouth before I'm about to sing. And he had the poster in front of me, so I was like, I just took the gum and put it on the poster. And we went backstage, and he's like, that was fucking genius. I'm like, I didn't know what to do with my gum, and like, why not just like insult you since you're insulting me?
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes it's those little things that are just so fun. And I was like, man, this is like my one job to sing the national anthem. Like, why you gotta ruin it for me?
And you were getting cut on every single show.
But like, it ended up being like, it like, looking back, it was really fun. And it was a really great like storyline.
A fantastic bit that became.
And that was when I was like, I want to do more storylines. Like, this is so much fun. Yeah. Like, I was just content being like in the background. I'm like, this is kind of fun. Like, when the story works, I'm like, this is really fun. Yeah. And like. But yeah, I remember that. I remember...
Those were good times.
They were. I remember his last show, too. And I was very sad.
I wasn't at his last PvP show, but I did... I have footage, and I share it every so often, of his last match that I saw him in. And it happened to do with a PAPW show, if I'm not mistaken. It was intertwined.
Oh, yeah.
It was a couple years back. It's a show we don't like to speak of much, if you know what I'm talking about.
I think so. I think I know which one.
And that was the last time I personally seen him, so I've always put it at, that was my last time of seeing Damien.
The last time that it was at a PvP show was the last time that I saw Damien wrestle, and then I think it was like the next day or a day or two later, he went on and said that he was retiring.
Would you call PvP more of your home base at one point?
Yeah. I think PvP and Blitzkrieg are my two.
Please divulge on, because we haven't spoke anything more than PvP.
Oh, don't worry. Yes.
Please, let's talk to companies that Joanna has come in and out of.
Well, again, back to I started with, it was at the time it was New Age.
Old time.
I don't know why I'm having blue.
Then
it changed to PvP, and that's when Justin brought me in. And then that was, even though I'd known Leary for years, he had mentioned that he'd wanted to start his own group, and I was like, dude, I'm totally down for that. Like, tell me where you want me to be. And that's where I really started getting more announcing gigs. I actually started, I was their main announcer at Blitzkrieg.
Could you please, I hate to interrupt, could you tell the fans though, what was Blitzkrieg's original name?
Oh, Blitzkrieg's original name, and it was called Us Versus Them.
Yes, it was
UVT.
Yes.
And I still remember the banners with UVT, and that show, Blitzkrieg show, UVT and Blitzkrieg shows are always so much fun. And I do remember, and then I remember Larry being like, we gotta change the name. I was like, what? Why? He's like, we're somebody else's you. It was a whole big somebody else's.
It was a whole
you
thing, yes.
But then he changed it to Blitzkrieg, and I love that Blitzkrieg has stuck, and it's such a name now.
Yeah.
And it's doing so well. And we're having our 4-year anniversary. And I look back on, Facebook memories and stuff, and because we started in August, and looking back on all those memories, it's so fun to see all of us young and starting this new company and seeing where it is now.
So you were part of the birth of UVT.
I was part of the birth, yes. We did shows. I remember we did shows at the Whirly Ball in Enfield, which is no longer there. We were doing them it was the Italian Festival?
Yes, that was my first one.
The Italian Festival.
I went to the Italian Festival, and to follow that up, and again, I hate to interrupt, and I do that a lot. That's me. There was another one that followed, and it was, and I forget the life of me what the name of it was, and it was Tommy End versus Brian Fury. They were both on their farewell tour. Brian Fury was retiring from wrestling and going to the New England Academy, right, to be the trainer, the head trainer. And Tommy End was becoming Aleister Black.
Yeah, that's
little did we know.
That's right.
Yeah, little did we know that's what he was going to become.
That was the Polish. I'm sorry, Larry. Please don't hate me.
And it wasn't that far
the
from
Polish club. Yeah, no, it was right up the street. I love that venue.
It was such a great time. Outdoor shows. Very good time.
Outdoor shows are not. Oh yeah, I personally can't stand outdoor shows because it's so they're great. Don't get me wrong, but as somebody working them, you're like, oh my god, it's so fucking hot. And then when it gets to be nighttime, the bugs come out, and I'm in the dress, and I'm just like, oh my god. And I'm somebody who gets bit constantly, so I'm like, oh my god. But I love watching outdoor shows. I don't like working outdoors. I still will if people. I still will work. But it's that person of oh man, not an outdoor show.
All depending on the heat and stuff, they can be quite.
Oh yeah, they can be.
And an ultra quick story.
Yes.
I brought my dad. It was the first show that I brought him to as the Indies, because he retired and stuff, and I wanted to get him out.
That happens.
Yeah.
Retire. I gotcha.
And it was that specific Blitzkrieg show. We were outside. Tommy End versus Brian Fury was was a main event, and during that was Gangrel was there. And Big Sexy was there, Kevin Nash.
Oh, that's
now,
right.
Gangrel comes out, and we are sitting, my father and I. My father likes the aisle thing, but now that I kind of took that over for the camera thing, and he hates me for it. But he was on the aisle, and I was on the second seat in, and I made friends because I talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I made friends with the people
You're
sitting next to me.
Don,
yeah.
Let's be honest.
Gangrel came out with the goblet, and I haven't seen him in so long. Live I haven't. I've seen him on... something Hollywood years ago. I saw it on the fight. Yeah, I forget. It's supposed to be ultra quick. Yeah. And he came out with his goblet, and he threw that spit of blood off of the corner. Who did it go on?
You.
My dad, myself, and the two new friends that I've made. Now, the two new friends I've made, they're a couple. One was a girl, and she had these beautiful white pants, and they had black stripes, and they were brand spanking new. I don't even know what the hell I was wearing. My dad, he was wearing a hat because he wears a hat, which I should probably start. And
Yeah, me too.
We went ill, the three of us.
my
We were
God.
like, oh my God, that was fucking sick. Blah, 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 blah. She's like, I'm never washing these pants again. My dad stands up with his hat, whips it on the ground and says, I just washed this son of a bitch last night. That made my entire evening. The wrestling was fantastic.
See, it's those moments, though.
Yes.
It's those moments
Yeah.
that make wrestling so fun,
It
though.
was hilarious.
It's so fun. That interaction and just whatever's going on. And
I'll never forget it.
And exactly. You never forget it. He was really nice, too.
He's a
backstage.
good
He really
he's
is
a good guy.
good guy. But yeah, and like it's those weird interactions that you have sometimes, whether it's somebody that's that's brand new, or somebody that's been doing this for years, or one of these WWE guys. Like it's those little moments that you're like, oh, man, I love wrestling.
And you say even like when you're brand new, and I have to use Chris Cannon as a specific example because I just interviewed him not that long ago. He is one gigantic person. I am like a child to him, to most people, but him specifically, I'm like a child. And man, whew, he was on fire.
I love it.
He wouldn't break gimmick because he says this isn't gimmick, you know, and he's living in Kevin Landry's for like $400 or $500 and lives in a bathroom and stuff. And it was an interesting, but brand
Some people
new.
are just so good at that, though, man. You gotta
Brand
give it to 'em.
spanking new.
Yeah.
Okay? I asked him if I would he won't do a Kincaid file with me.
Oh.
I think he just kind of peed me off on that one. But
Knock on wood that he might change his mind, though.
now I did interview him, and it was quite the interview. Brand spanking new, only had one match.
Wow.
But those are the kinds of things you don't always have to be, like you just said.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be in the business for 10, 20 years or whatever.
I love watching. I remember watching Mecca's first match. I remember watching Delmy Exo's first match. I remember watching Hot Scoop Skylar's first match. And I remember them because I was one of those people back there being like, yes, go, go, go. And like, look at where Delmy and Brianna are now. And like, you see them grow. And it's so great. It's so great to see them grow. I'm so proud of those people.
Speaking of growing, I'm going to mention a name, and I think you're going to absolutely love it. A.G. Green.
Aww.
I knew it. A.G. Green is something else right now.
He is.
He's got that retro thing.
I love it. It's so
He's got
creepy.
the fanny pack.
It's
He's
so
got
creepy.
the Zubas.
It's so creepy. I love you, but it is so creepy.
He's got the
and
hair.
like I think he knows. What did I say to him one time? I was like, I went up to him and I gave him a big hug. I was like, it's like my third favorite Jew.
Yeah.
And he went, what? I'm like, you're like my third favorite Jew. And he's like, okay, well now I have to know who are the other two. I was like, well, me, clearly I'm my favorite Jew.
Numero
like,
uno.
Let's be honest. And I said, Paul Heyman is number 2 and you're 3. And he's like, I'm okay with that.
That's an acceptable
He's like,
list.
that's a very acceptable list.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, I'm all right with that. But like, he took it like so great. He gets it. And he's another one that like I remember seeing like start as just like this kid.
We've seen him as a referee around here.
Yeah, just this kid, and now anytime he shows up, he's so nice backstage.
He is.
He's like the epitome of like, he comes, he helps, he's nice to everybody. He puts on a great show. He hangs out afterwards, and he's on to the next. And he's so great.
Him and Josh Briggs have made quite the relationship. They are the
Josh
ultra
is another guy who's
best
super
of friends.
nice
Super,
too, yeah.
super exploding right now. But I'm using him as an example, and both of them, to be honest with you, because I went to American Rana 19. Holy shit. It was a 5-hour, 10-minute show, and it
5 hours.
was
Wow.
crazy. And at the very tail end of the entire show, and I do mean the very 2 last guys that are still, with the honeys though, they are still pushing merchandise. There is not one worker in this, what I called merch alley.
Yeah.
There is not one worker. There's not one referee. There's not one manager. There is just tumbleweeds, except Anthony Green, Josh Briggs, and the 2 honeys. And man, oh man, Ava and Angel.
Angel, yeah.
And my goodness, when I came out those doors and saw those 4 standing there, I go, that's why they're exploding the way they are. The time that they put into the industry, into their craft. And the honeys are running around. They're coming to me with a XXX shirt trying to sell it to me for $10. This is the last one. This is the last one. What the hell? We could fit this picnic table in there with me. Okay, like, but that's what I'm talking about.
Buy
like,
merch, by the way.
Yeah,
buy merch. I try to get a lot of the guys' merch if I can. I also design some of the guys' merch.
I see pins and stuff you're doing.
Yeah,
you know?
I did. I just did a new set for the King of Chaos, a new shirt and a new sticker for him. So looking forward to that.
Like we speak of the respect, the put the time in, staying till X time when you don't have to. You can leave with everybody else, but you make that choice to do that. And it's for the industry, for the guys and the girls that are doing the shows.
Sometimes I'll be like, man, this is like I'm not gonna lie. There are times when it's just me, and I'm like, what the. Just like I'm crying and like my brain is exploding, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys? They all went to the bar and they just left me here to clean it. What is going on? Yeah. And then you go to the bar and everybody's like, where were you? I'm like, I was cleaning. And they're like, what? What? And like they freak out. But like again, it's like one of those things too where now they're like, oh well, we can't. You know, like the next show that we did, they were like, we can't, like, and like the promoter was like, guys, you gotta clean up for Joanna. Like, she was here so late. The people that didn't know she was here so late, and he remembered that too. That's the thing that the promoter remembers.
And then they remember that.
And then and then so you know, like it's those little things. And like I said, like at the time, I'm crying and I'm like, I can't believe they all just left me here to clean it. I'm just, my wrist was all busted up, and what is wrong with these guys? But then like afterwards, like it's again like the promoter's like, I saw what you did. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm gonna talk to the guys, and the guys are like, oh my god, we can't believe that, you know. Sometimes they, you know, like after a show they're not thinking.
Right, the blood is still going, the adrenaline's still going.
Sometimes
you know?
the beer is still going.
The beer is flowing. I'm a one-man show. I don't even know if I hit record on this.
Oh my god, I hope so.
We could possibly doing all of this for nothing. So I'm just going to go double check my equipment because, you know, power and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I got to check stuff.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause.
Oh, fantastic. We have been rolling. That's great news.
Oh my god, I would have cried.
That would have stunk because...
There's some good stories in there. I really would have cried.
Don Kincaid really isn't always the brightest guy. Oh, and I hate to say it like that, but I've been known to do some stupid crap. I
had a message from comic book stuff.
Ooh. I've never not worn a wrestling shirt on my interviews.
That's right.
I was at home thinking, what the hell am I going to wear with Miss Joanna Robinson interviewing her?
That's all right. I was at home thinking, what the hell am I going to wear with Don Kincaid?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? Do I dress up really nice? Do I like pop on a wrestling shirt? And I was like, I'm just going to... Hey. Everybody knows I'm a supernatural...
I'm going girl. Deadpool. You're going Supernatural.
Also, and like obviously you can see the Green Lantern, and like I had the Terrificon, and I've got my Cap Cup.
I seen your Terrificon pictures, so I figured I have two superhero shirts. I figured this was absolutely fitting.
It was perfect.
We spoke PvP. We spoke Blitzkrieg. We could talk much about both.
By the way, Blitzkrieg is having a show at the 4-year anniversary at the end of the month. Bret Hart. It's like a mix.
It's a big one.
It's Blitzkrieg and Limitless.
Big time?
Big time. Yes, I'm sorry.
See,
sorry.
I did that too.
Sorry.
I did that too. Believe me.
Because sometimes we have worked with Limitless before,
with Limitless.
so that's why I was like, But like, there's gonna be so many good matches.
Big time mixing with Blitzkrieg is gonna be very huge for Blitzkrieg itself.
But like, and we like to do that, the mixing thing, because it gets audiences who can't go out to these other big shows.
Right.
They get to see all these other names, and they get to become new fans too, and that's always so much fun.